First contact. In the depths of space, far from Earth's familiar shores, an alien civilization thrived. The Zephyrians were an ancient race, their technology advanced beyond human reckoning. Their sleek ships patrolled the stars, ensuring peace and order throughout their vast empire. In the heart of the Zephyrian homeworld, the command center buzzed with activity. Serene blues and purples bathed the room in a calming glow, a stark contrast to the sudden alarm that shattered the tranquility. "Commander Zoran," a young officer called out, his voice trembling. "Long-range sensors have detected an unknown vessel entering our space." Commander Zoran, a tall, lithe figure with shimmering silver skin, moved gracefully to the officer's station. His elongated fingers danced across the holographic controls, his emerald eyes narrowing as he studied the data. "What do we know about this vessel?" Zoran asked, his melodic voice tinged with concern. "It's unlike anything we've encountered before," the officer replied. "Its energy signature is off the charts. Our scans can't penetrate its hull." Zoran's brow furrowed. In his centuries of service, he had never seen a ship that could evade Zephyrian sensors. He turned to his communications officer, a petite female with iridescent wings. "Hail them. We must determine their intentions." The comms officer nodded, her slender fingers already working the controls. "Unknown vessel, this is the Zephyrian Command Center. You have entered our space. Identify yourself and state your purpose." Silence hung in the air as they awaited a response. Seconds turned to minutes, the tension growing palpable. Finally, a deep, rumbling voice filled the command center. "This is Admiral Gray of the Earth ship Prometheus. We come in peace, seeking to establish contact with civilizations beyond our own." Zoran exchanged glances with his officers, surprise etched on their faces. Earth. They had heard whispers of this fledgling civilization, barely a blip on the galactic radar. What were they doing here, so far from home? The Zephyrian commander straightened, composing himself. "Admiral Gray, we welcome peaceful contact. However, your vessel's capabilities are causing concern. We request that you power down your weapons and prepare for inspection." A pause, then Admiral Gray's voice returned, an edge of steel beneath the diplomatic veneer. "Commander Zoran, with all due respect, we cannot comply. The Prometheus is our last line of defense. We've lost contact with several of our colonies, and we suspect foul play. We must remain vigilant." Zoran's eyes widened. Lost colonies. Foul play. This situation was more complex than he had anticipated. He glanced at his tactical officer, who shook his head, indicating that the Prometheus weapons remained fully charged. "Admiral," Zoran began carefully, "we have no knowledge of your lost colonies, but we cannot allow an armed, unknown vessel to roam freely through our space. Please, power down, and let us discuss this matter peacefully." The response was swift and unyielding. "Negative, Commander. We will not render ourselves defenseless. The Prometheus will maintain its current position and status. We extend our hand in friendship, but we will not hesitate to defend ourselves if provoked." Zoran felt a chill run down his spine. This wasn't a mere diplomatic mishap. This was first contact with an unpredictable, potentially dangerous new species. An inexplicable sense of foreboding settled over the command center. The unknown had taken form, and its name was human. As the Zephyrian ships moved to surround the Prometheus, weapons charged but not yet firing, Zoran couldn't shake the feeling that this moment would echo through the ages. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, and the next move could decide the future of the galaxy itself. The Terran Gambit, Earth 2247 ed. Luna Base, the beating heart of human space exploration, bustled with activity. In a cavernous hangar, a marvel of human engineering took shape, sleek, angular, and bristling with advanced weaponry. The Prometheus represented the pinnacle of Earth's technological prowess. Admiral Ilara Gray stood on an observation deck, her steely gaze fixed on the vessel below. Her short, auburn hair framed a face hardened by years of service, her green eyes glinting with determination. She turned as her second-in-command, Commander Mikhail Petrov, approached. "Admiral," Petrov greeted, his voice thick with a Russian accent. "The final checks are complete. The Prometheus is ready for her maiden voyage." Gray nodded, a flicker of pride crossing her features. "Good. And the crew?" "Assembled and awaiting your orders," Petrov replied. "They're the best of the best, hand-picked for this mission." The Admiral's expression turned somber. "They'll need to be. We're venturing into the unknown, Mikhail. With our colonies going dark, we can't afford any mistakes." Over the past year, Earth had lost contact with 3 of its fledgling colonies. No distress calls, no explanations, just silence. The powers that be had grown restless, demanding answers and action. Enter Project Prometheus, a top-secret initiative to create a ship capable of facing any threat, known or unknown. Gray had been tasked with overseeing its development and commanding its first mission. "I have faith in our crew," Petrov said, his tone reassuring. "And in you, Admiral. If anyone can get to the bottom of this mystery, it's you." Gray allowed herself a small smile. "Let's hope you're right, Mikhail, for all our sakes." As they watched the final preparations, Gray's thoughts drifted to the innovations that made the Prometheus unique. Its hull was composed of a revolutionary adaptive alloy, capable of adjusting its molecular structure to withstand extreme conditions and enemy fire. The ship's quantum core allowed for unprecedented power generation and computing capabilities. But the true marvel lay in the Prometheus armaments. Drawing from reverse-engineered alien tech and bleeding-edge human ingenuity, the ship boasted an array of weapons that defied comprehension. Plasma cannons, graviton torpedoes, and the crown jewel, the Singularity Drive, a device capable of manipulating space-time itself. Yet for all its advancements, the Prometheus remained untested. Theoretical. A gamble born of desperation and hope. As Gray watched the final panel slide into place on the ship's gleaming hull, she couldn't shake the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. A chime sounded, drawing Gray from her musings. "Admiral," Petrov called, urgency in his voice. "We've received a transmission from Earth Command. They've lost contact with Kepler 186F. The colony went silent 2 hours ago." Gray's jaw clenched, a cold knot forming in her stomach. Kepler 186F, a thriving colony of over 1 million souls, the 4th to vanish without a trace. "Notify the crew," she ordered, her voice steel. "Prepare for immediate departure. We're not waiting for the scheduled launch." Petrov nodded sharply, already relaying the commands through his neural link. The observation deck burst into activity, technicians and officers scrambling to their stations. As Gray strode towards the Prometheus, her steps echoing on the metal walkway, she felt the weight of history pressing down on her. The fate of humanity's colonies, perhaps of humanity itself, rested on the shoulders of her and her crew. The Prometheus was Earth's last hope, a beacon of light against the encroaching darkness. Unbeknownst to Gray and her crew, their actions were rippling across the stars, drawing the attention of forces beyond their understanding. Their mission would not only determine the fate of Earth's colonies, but shape the course of the galaxy itself. For in the depths of space, an ancient evil stirred, its gaze drawn to the tiny blue world and its audacious creations. The stage was set, the players assembled. The Terran gambit had begun. A clash of civilizations. In the void of space, the Prometheus faced off against the sleek Zephyrian vessels, an uneasy stillness permeating the vacuum between them. On the bridge of the human warship, Admiral Gray stood resolute, her eyes fixed on the viewscreen displaying the alien fleet. "Admiral," Commander Petrov called from his station, his brow furrowed. "The Zephyrians are hailing us. They're requesting to speak with you directly." Gray nodded, straightening her uniform. "Put them through." The view screen shimmered, resolving into the image of Commander Zorin. His silver skin seemed to glow in the ethereal light of his ship's bridge, his emerald eyes piercing even through the digital feed. "Admiral Gray," Zoran began, his voice melodic yet firm. "I must insist that you power down your weapons and allow us to board your vessel. We have much to discuss." Gray's jaw tightened. "Commander Zoran, I understand your concern, but you must understand ours. We've lost contact with multiple colonies, and we have reason to believe they were attacked. We cannot let our guard down." Zoran's expression remained impassive. "And you believe we are responsible for these attacks?" "I believe," Gray replied carefully, "that we lack information, and until we have a clearer picture, we must remain cautious." The Zephyrian commander leaned forward, his gaze intensifying. "Admiral, let me be clear. Your ship's capabilities are unlike anything we've encountered. Your very presence here threatens the balance of power in this sector. If you do not comply with our requests, we will be forced to take action." Gray's eyes narrowed. "Is that a threat, Commander?" "It is a reality," Zoran replied coolly. "One that you would be wise to heed." The bridge of the Prometheus fell silent, the weight of the moment pressing down on every crew member. Gray's mind raced, weighing her options. To comply would be to render themselves vulnerable. To resist could spark an interstellar war. She turned to Petrov, her expression grim. "What's the status of our weapons?" Petrov checked his console, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "All systems are online and ready. The singularity drive is charged and stable." Gray nodded, her decision made. She turned back to the view screen, her gaze locking with Zoran's. "Commander, we came here seeking peace and answers. But we will not sacrifice our safety or our mission. The Prometheus will not stand down." Zoran's expression hardened, a flicker of something ancient and powerful flashing in his eyes. "Then you leave us no choice." The view screen went dark, replaced by the ominous sight of the Zephyrian ships shifting into attack formation. Their sleek hulls shimmered with energy, weapon systems coming online. "Red alert!" Gray barked, the bridge erupting into controlled chaos. "All hands to battle stations. Prepare for engagement." As the crew scrambled to their posts, the Prometheus thrummed with power, its adaptive hull shifting and rippling like a living thing. The quantum core pulsed with energy, feeding the ship's vast array of weapons. In the heart of the vessel, the singularity drive spun up, space-time warping around its event horizon. A low, bone-rattling hum filled the ship, a testament to the sheer power contained within its core. On the bridge, Gray gripped the arms of her command chair, her knuckles white with tension. She watched as the Zephyrian ships closed in, their weapons glowing with menacing light. "Steady," she murmured, her voice calm and focused. "Wait for them to make the first move." But before either side could unleash their arsenals, a blinding flash erupted in the space between them. A massive, ancient-looking vessel materialized from the void, its hull pitted and scored from eons of cosmic travel. "What the hell is that?" Petrov breathed, his eyes wide with shock. Gray shook her head, a sense of foreboding washing over her. "I don't know. But something tells me our problems just got a whole lot bigger." As the ancient ship loomed over the Prometheus and the Zephyrian fleet, a deep, resonant voice boomed across every frequency. "Children of the stars, your petty squabbles end now. For we have returned to claim what is ours. Prepare to be harvested." The stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. The Prometheus, the Zephyrians, and the ancient menace, all poised on the brink of a cataclysmic clash. The fate of worlds hung in the balance, and only time would tell who would emerge victorious. Shadows of the past. The bridge of the Prometheus was silent, the crew staring in awe and terror at the monstrosity that had appeared before them. The ancient ship dwarfed the human and Zephyrian vessels, its hull a patchwork of strange, organic-looking metal and pulsing, sickly green lights. Admiral Gray was the first to break the silence. "Hail them," she ordered, her voice steadied despite the fear gnawing at her gut. The comms officer nodded, his hand shaking slightly as he opened a channel. "Unknown vessel, this is the Earth ship Prometheus. Identify yourself and state your intentions." A moment passed, then the deep, resonant voice filled the bridge once more. "We are the Harvesters. We have no need for names or intentions, only hunger." Gray exchanged a glance with Petrov. Confusion and dread etched on their faces. "Harvesters, what do you mean, hunger?" A low, rumbling chuckle echoed through the channel. "For eons, we have traversed the stars, consuming the technologies and resources of lesser species. Your civilizations are but morsels to sate our appetite. And now we have returned to claim what is rightfully ours." A chill ran down Gray's spine. She had heard whispers of ancient, malevolent forces lurking in the depths of space, but she had always dismissed them as myths and legends. Now, faced with the reality of the Harvesters, she realized how woefully unprepared humanity was for the true dangers of the universe. Suddenly, Commander Zoran's face appeared on the view screen, his expression grim. "Admiral Gray, I believe we have a common enemy." Gray nodded, her mind racing. "It would seem so, Commander. What do you know of these Harvesters?" Zoran's eyes darkened. "They are an ancient scourge, a plague upon the galaxy. Our histories speak of their last incursion, eons ago. They nearly wiped out our civilization, consuming our technologies and leaving only ruins in their wake." Petrov leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "How were they defeated?" "By the sacrifice of countless lives," Zoran replied gravely, "and the creation of a weapon so powerful, it was deemed too dangerous to ever use again." Gray's heart pounded in her chest. A weapon capable of defeating the Harvesters. It seemed too good to be true. What kind of weapon? Zoran hesitated, as if weighing the consequences of his next words. "A singularity bomb. A device that could collapse a star into a black hole, consuming everything in its vicinity." Silence fell over the bridge, the implications of Zoran's revelation sinking in. Gray's mind raced, calculating possibilities and risks. The Prometheus singularity drive was powerful, but could it be adapted into a weapon of such magnitude? She turned to Petrov, her expression determined. "Get our science team on it. If there's even a chance we can create a singularity bomb, we have to try." Petrov nodded, already relaying the orders through his neural link. The bridge burst into activity, the crew galvanized by the newfound purpose. On the view screen, Zoran's face remained somber. "Admiral, even with a singularity bomb, the odds are against us. The Harvesters are immensely powerful, and their technology is far beyond our own." Gray met his gaze, a flicker of a smile on her lips. "Then it's a good thing we have the Prometheus, and a crew that doesn't know the meaning of impossible." As the human and Zephyrian ships formed a united front against the looming Harvester vessel, Gray felt a surge of pride and determination. They were facing an enemy that had haunted the nightmares of civilizations for eons, an enemy that consumed worlds and left only destruction in its wake. But they were not alone. For the first time in history, two species, once on the brink of war, now stood shoulder to shoulder against a common threat. The Prometheus, with its cutting-edge technology and indomitable human spirit, and the Zephyrians, with their ancient wisdom and powerful weapons, united in purpose and resolve. The battle for the fate of the galaxy had begun, and the Prometheus would be at the forefront, carrying the hopes and dreams of all sentient life. For in the face of annihilation, the only choice was to fight, to adapt, to overcome. The shadows of the past had risen, but so too had the light of unity and courage. Improvise, adapt, overcome. The void of space erupted into chaos as the Harvester ship unleashed its arsenal upon the allied human and Zephyrian forces. Sickly green beams of energy lanced out, slicing through shields and hulls like a hot knife through butter. The Zephyrian ships, despite their advanced technology, fell one by one, their crews consumed by the insatiable hunger of the Harvesters. On the bridge of the Prometheus, Admiral Gray gripped the arms of her command chair, her knuckles white with tension. The ship shuddered and groaned as the harvester weapons pounded against its adaptive hull, the advanced alloy struggling to keep up with the onslaught. Shields at 30%. Petrov shouted over the blaring alarms. Hull integrity compromised on decks 7 through 12. Gray clenched her jaw, her mind racing. The Prometheus was holding up better than the Zephyrian ships, but even its cutting-edge defenses couldn't withstand a harvester assault indefinitely. They needed a plan, and fast. "What's the status of the singularity bomb?" she asked, her voice strained. Petrov shook his head, frustration etched on his face. "The science team is working on it, but they need more time. The singularity drive wasn't designed to be weaponized." Gray slammed her fist on the arm of her chair, a surge of anger and desperation welling up inside her. They were running out of time and options. The harvesters were tearing through their fleet like tissue paper, and the singularity bomb was still just a theory. Suddenly, a thought struck her. The Prometheus adaptive hull, the way it could change and evolve in response to threats. What if they could use that same principle to turn the tide of the battle? She turned to Petrov, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "The adaptive hull, can we use it to absorb and redirect the harvester weapons?" Petrov's brow furrowed, his mind working through the possibilities. "In theory, yes. But we'd have to recalibrate the entire system. And even then, there's no guarantee it would work." Gray nodded, her resolve hardening. "Do it. It's our only chance." As Petrov relayed the orders to the engineering team, Gray turned her attention to the tactical display. A harvester ship loomed large, its pulsing green lights casting an eerie glow over the battlefield. The remaining Zephyrian ships fought valiantly, but they were outmatched and outnumbered. Suddenly, the Prometheus shuddered violently, sparks flying from overloaded consoles. The view screen flickered and went dark, plunging the bridge into momentary darkness. "Report," Gray barked, fear and adrenaline coursing through her veins. Petrov's face was grim, illuminated by the emergency lighting. "The harvesters have breached our hull. They're boarding the ship." Gray's heart sank, a cold dread settling in her stomach. The harvesters were known for consuming technology, assimilating it into their own twisted designs. If they got their hands on the Prometheus advanced systems, there would be no stopping them. She turned to the crew, her voice steady and determined. "Initiate Protocol Omega. Purge all sensitive data and overload the quantum core. We cannot let the harvesters take this ship." As the crew set to work, a strange, eerie silence fell over the bridge. The sounds of battle, the alarms, the shouts of the crew, all faded away, replaced by a low, pulsing hum. Gray frowned, a sense of unease washing over her. And then, the view screen flickered back to life, revealing a sight that took her breath away. The Prometheus hull was glowing, pulsing with the same sickly green light as the harvester ship. But instead of being consumed, the human vessel seemed to be absorbing the energy, drawing it in like a sponge. Petrov's eyes widened, a grin spreading across his face. "It's working. The adaptive hull, it's not just absorbing the harvester weapons, it's learning from them, evolving." Gray felt a surge of hope, a flicker of light in the darkness. They had done it. They had taken the impossible and made it reality. The Prometheus, a testament to human ingenuity and determination, had turned the tables on the harvesters. But the battle was far from over. The harvester ship, sensing the change in the tide, redoubled its efforts, unleashing a barrage of weapons unlike anything they had seen before. The Prometheus shuddered and groaned, its hull glowing brighter and brighter with each impact. Gray gripped the arms of her chair, her eyes fixed on the view screen. They were on the brink, teetering between victory and annihilation. The singularity bomb was still a distant hope, but the Prometheus had given them a fighting chance. And fight they would. For Earth, for the Zephyrians, for all the countless lives that hung in the balance. The Prometheus would stand, a beacon of light against the darkness, a symbol of what could be achieved when different species, different cultures, came together in the face of a common enemy. The harvesters had awakened an ancient evil, but they had also awakened something else, the indomitable spirit of sentient life, the will to survive, to adapt, to overcome. And in that spirit, even the darkest of shadows could be driven back into the abyss. Unity in adversity. The battle raged on, the Prometheus and the remaining Zephyrian ships fighting tooth and nail against the harvester onslaught. The human vessel, its adaptive hull now pulsing with the same sickly green energy as the enemy, danced through the void, absorbing and redirecting the harvester weapons with increasing efficiency. On the bridge, Admiral Gray watched in awe as her ship, her crew, pushed themselves to their limits and beyond. They were battered, bruised, but unbroken. The Prometheus, once a symbol of human defiance, now stood as a beacon of hope for all sentient life. Suddenly, the comms crackled to life, Commander Zoran's voice filling the bridge. "Admiral Gray, the singularity bomb is ready, but we have only one shot." Gray felt a surge of relief, tempered by the gravity of the moment. One shot, one chance to end this war, to drive the harvesters back into the abyss. She turned to Petrov, her expression grim. "Plot a course for the heart of the harvester ship. We're going to deliver the package personally." Petrov nodded, his fingers flying over the controls. The Prometheus surged forward, its engines straining as it punched through the enemy lines. The harvester ship loomed before them, a monstrous, pulsing mass of twisted metal and malevolent energy. As they closed in, the harvesters redoubled their efforts, throwing everything they had at the human ship. The Prometheus shuddered and groaned, its adaptive hull glowing white-hot as it struggled to keep up with the onslaught. "Shields failing," Petrov shouted, his face bathed in the eerie green glow of the view screen. "Hull integrity at critical levels." Gray gripped the arms of her chair, her jaw set with determination. They were so close, just a little further. "Rear out all power to engines and forward shields. We only need to get in range." The Prometheus surged forward, its hull crackling with energy as it plowed through the harvester defenses. The enemy ship filled the view screen, a nightmarish vision of hunger and destruction. "We're in range," Petrov called out, his voice strained. "Singularity bomb armed and ready." Gray took a deep breath, her finger hovering over the release button. This was it, the moment of truth. Fire. The Prometheus shuddered as the singularity bomb launched from its tubes, streaking towards the heart of the harvester ship. For a moment, time seemed to stand still, the battlefield holding its breath in anticipation. And then the bomb detonated, a blinding flash of light consuming the harvester ship. Space-time warped and twisted, the very fabric of reality straining under the immense gravitational forces. The enemy vessel buckled and collapsed, imploding in on itself as the singularity tore it apart from the inside out. The shockwave hit the Prometheus like a hammer, sending it tumbling end over end. Consoles exploded, crew members thrown from their seats. Gray held on for dear life, her vision blurring as the ship spun out of control. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, it was over. The Prometheus righted itself, its adaptive hull still glowing with the remnants of the harvester energy. The battlefield was silent, the twisted remains of the enemy ship drifting lifelessly through the void. On the view screen, Commander Zoran's face appeared, his expression one of relief and gratitude. "Admiral Gray, on behalf of the Zephyrian people, I thank you. Your bravery and sacrifice will not be forgotten." Gray managed a smile, her body aching from the strain of the battle. "We all did our part, Commander. This victory belongs to all of us." As the Prometheus limped back to the Zephyrian homeworld, its hull scared and battered but still proud, Gray couldn't help but feel a sense of awe at what they had accomplished. Two species, once on the brink of war, had come together to face an ancient evil. And in doing so, they had forged a bond that would endure for generations to come. The harvesters had been defeated, but Gray knew that this was only the beginning. There were other threats out there, other dangers lurking in the depths of space. But now, They faced those threats together, united in purpose and resolve. The Prometheus had lived up to its name, stealing the fire of the gods and using it to light the way for all sentient life. And as long as that light shone, as long as the spirit of unity and determination endured, no darkness could prevail. For in the face of adversity, in the crucible of war, the true strength of the galaxy had been revealed. Not in the might of weapons or the power of technology, but in the courage and compassion of those who dared to stand together to fight for a better tomorrow.